Hi guys, this is Terry with Adorable Deco Decor, and had a little hiccup with the Mevo again, but I'm hoping that it's working. Let me know if you're out there, and if you join in, let me know where you're from and how you're doing tonight. You're probably wondering why I'm doing sitting on the floor, but I've got a wreath to package up for shipping, and I thought it would be a good time to go live and show you how I ship my wreaths or how I prepare my wreaths for shipping. And let me see if I can see any comments out here. Okay. All right, well, it looks like some people are joining in. Like I said, just go ahead and comment if you're out there and you can see okay. Like I said, we had a little hiccup with the Mevo again tonight, but I think it's working okay as far as I can tell. But let me go ahead and let's see. Okay, so Sue, hi, how are you? Thank you for joining. Okay, all right, well, while everybody joins in, I'll go ahead and let you see all the supplies I have. And like I said, I'm on the floor because, frankly, I am too short to reach the box if I put it on a table to go ahead and prepare it for shipping, so I always have to work it on the floor. So I'm sure nobody else out there has the same problem, but I wasn't very endowed as far as height. But anyway, this is the beautiful wreath that I'm going to be shipping, and it's going to be going to a new home in Oklahoma. And seems like lots of my products go west of the Mississippi. I was just telling my husband we need to either migrate out that way where we have a lot of family, or maybe get a shop out there. But he just shook his head, looked the other way. So, hey, hi Cecilia, how are you? I hope you're still doing well. And hi Debbie, thank you for joining. Hi Sherry. Hey TJ, how are you guys down there tonight? I have to show you, so I made a shirt I wanted to show you, TJ. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. And of course, you're going to need your box. And when you're shipping a wreath, I mean, sometimes shipping can just kill you depending on where you're going to go as far as the cost. And generally, the biggest box I use is a 24 by 24 by 8 box. When you start getting up in that area or bigger, you're really getting hit with the balloon, what do they call it? Balloon cost. And I always try to keep that in mind when I'm making a wreath. Nowadays, when I first started out, I didn't think about it and just about hung myself shipping a few wreaths. But like I said, if you go much above 24 by 24 by 8, you're going to pay a lot in shipping. But anyway, this is a 22 by 22 by 8 wreath, and there's differing opinions out there. And like I said, I try to keep in mind, as if I'm making a wreath to list, I try to think about it, about the size and shipping while I'm making it. And there's, like I said, there's different ways of thinking. Some people say go ahead and get it packed in the smallest box you can get, and then just inform the buyer that you're going to have to do some fluffing of the ribbons whenever you receive the wreath. I don't like to do that. I feel like somebody bought something on Etsy and it looks all beautiful, and whenever I receive that in my home, if I paid a lot of money for a wreath, I don't want to have to spend a lot of time fluffing. Now, are you going to have to do some fluffing? Yes. It's nearly impossible to package a wreath, and by the time it leaves my house and arrives, clear across the country, it's unreasonable to think there's not going to be some shifting, or it just depends on how delicate they handle the wreath. I mean, I've seen some of the boxes that have arrived on my end to our home, and you know, it looks like it's been manhandled pretty well. But anyway, I want, whenever I have somebody open the box, I want them to be wowed and be glad they purchased that wreath. I don't want them to see just a flattened pancake whenever they open that box up. I want them to be excited. So, so anyway, I always try to, you might see some, for example, some of these grasses kind of stick out, and those might be pushed down a little bit as I put the top of the box down, but my bows, I'm hoping that they won't have to adjust those at all. I do put a little note in the box with the wreath that I have pre-printed, and it talks about there might be some shifting and they may have to do a little fluffing of the bows. And I do have a tutorial on how to fluff bows on my website, and I always inform of that, but I don't want them to have to do a lot of it, okay? And another thing too, of course I've inspected the wreath after I finished doing it, but then I wait one final inspection. I don't want any strings of glue hanging off, and I always go and kind of pull on each one of the flowers and grasses and make sure I haven't missed any that maybe I'd placed them in the wreath before just to get the spacing right, and maybe I forgot to glue one in. I just try to take all the extra time and precautions I can to make sure that they get a quality product whenever they open that box. So, okay, well let me know if you guys have any questions. Oh, hey Denise, how are you? Glad to see you tonight. Thank you so much for joining. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Go ahead and put them in the comments, and if I miss them, please don't take it up personally. It's hard to do this and get all the comments answered, but just know that I do try to go back after the live, and I try to answer everybody's questions and address them as I can. So, and also, if you want to be notified the next time I go live, just post in the comments live alert. Then you will get a message back, and it'll say reply live alert to that message. And once you get that second message, if you reply, then you're in the system. So I'll try to notify everybody next time I go live. So anyway, let's get started. Now, like I said, we've got a 22 by 22 by 8 box, and I've already taped up the bottom of this. My boxes, I order in bulk, and they come flat. So I've already taped the bottom of this just so that I could go ahead and set the wreath in it and make sure I had the right size. To tape it, of course, I've already taped the 2 leaves down together, and then I also run an extra ridge of tape along both sides over here. Okay, just to add a little layer of protection. And then we're going to flip it over. And can you guys see okay? I hope so. Let me know if not. So, hey Sandy, how are you tonight? Thank you so much for joining. So, and Celia says she's okay. Good. Celia had a kind of a rough couple of weeks, but I'm glad you're better. So, all right, let's go ahead and set this wreath down in here. And we're going to kind of tuck it in. Okay. And make sure all the flowers are in there as comfortably as they can be. And then what I do, I'm going to take some pipe cleaners, and I'm going to run them up, and I'll show you how to do this, but I'm going to run them up through the bottom of the box, and that's what's going to secure my wreath in the box. And I like to get it in there pretty snug. I'm going to take my awl or ice pick, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of feel around in here and find the best place to secure this. Usually I'll secure it in at least 2 places. And this one's not a real heavy wreath, so I think 2 places is going to be fine. But I always try to, if I have an obvious place here where I can go ahead and secure, where I'm not going to interfere with any of the flowers or the greenery or the ribbon, I'll go ahead and use that. So right here, let me make sure you can see that. Right here, I can go ahead and I can wrap all the way around it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mark that. Make sure that my wreath is centered in here. And I'm just going to go ahead and I just poked some holes in the bottom of that box right on either side of the grapevine. Okay? And then I'll put that back up here. Then I'm going to come over here. And I'm just going to go here on the top of the wreath. And I'm going to feel around for it for a piece of grapevine that I can grab onto. Kind of a thick piece of grapevine. Or if there's a place that I think that I can comfortably run my hand underneath the flowers here, which I think there is. There's a nice space that I can feel where I won't be smashing down any flowers or any greenery. So I'll go ahead and I'll make a hole there. And another hole there. Okay, and then I take my wreath out. And then, let me come around here. I'm going to see if I can kind of zoom in. I'm walking my knees here. I don't know if you guys can see those holes right now, but I'm just going to go from the other side. And I've got my fingers back there, making sure that I'm not going to poke my fingers, but make that go all the way around, all the way through. And I do the same thing down here. Okay, so I've got my holes there. Just like that. Now I'm just going to flip it over. This is where my pipe cleaners come into play. All right, and then I always, and you can really, if you have something, just like a long piece of wire or something that you wanted to use instead, you could use it. I've just gotten in the habit to use the pipe cleaners. I usually use 2 of them, and I just tie them together. I found that if I use one, it's just too short most of the times. And then I just fold them underneath, just like that. Okay? And I'll stick them through the holes. I'll do the same thing on the other side. There's nothing real scientific about this. Just don't, you want just something, like I said, you can use wire, you could use string, anything that you can get in there really snug. And I'll put it in through there like that. And then you got to think this might be going through a conveyor belt, so you don't want these little pieces of pipe cleaner to get stuck on a belt anywhere or hung up anywhere. So I'll go ahead and put some tape over it. Actually, the wreath I shipped the other day, I got into the post office and realized I'd forgotten to do that step, and thank goodness that they have some heavy duty tape behind the counter, so she did it for me. So, and then I just put it right over the top of that. I usually take a couple of pieces. You see, that way it's not going to get stuck on that conveyor belt. One more piece. Okay. Now I'll flip it back over. And whenever you flip it over, you want to kind of remember which one of these goes with which side of the wreath. And I know that my flowers were up here, so this one's inset just a little bit more than the other. This was the grapevine portion, but if you need to, go ahead and mark it. 'Cause I used to always forget to do that, but then I'm just scrambling around trying to figure out how to get it back the way I had it. So, okay, now we're going to grab the wreath. Place it back in there. Make sure all the flowers are going the right direction. Nobody's getting smashed. Okay, I think that looks good. And then, as you can see, this has got a little, I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me zoom in on that. But this has got a little vine that's wrapped around the grapevine. And I'm actually going to slip that pipe cleaner underneath of that just to give it a little bit more security. Okay. All right. And we just snug it down there as tight as we can without breaking it, of course. And we're going to do the other side. Like I said, I was able to find a place where I could run that underneath of the flowers and not have to smash any of them. Now if I can find it again. There we go. I'm just going to secure that down again as tightly as I can. I don't want it to move. Okay. All right, then I'm going to come back and just fluff the bow where I kind of messed it up with my elbow there. Because like I said, when my customer opens this up, I want them to think, wow, that's beautiful. So, all right. All the petals are going in the right direction. Okay. All right, so now what I'll do, I'll just kind of take it. I'm just going to shake it. And see, that's not going anywhere. Okay? It's not going anywhere. Okay? And believe me, when you take them to the post office or to FedEx, they're tossing these suckers. I've watched them back behind the counter, even when I'm sitting there, I've just handed it to them, and I mean, even though I'll show you I write fragile on the top of them and everything, I feel like sometimes that's a license for them to throw it. So, all right, now what I do next, I always stick in a little something extra, just as a kind of a thank you and a little bonus. I want a repeat customer, and I've got a wholesale license, and I'm able to get these pretty inexpensively, and it adds just hardly anything to my cost of my wreath, but it gives the customer a little feeling like they're getting a little extra from me. So I will go ahead and I'll throw in a wreath hanger or just some kind of extra. Some kind of feel-good thing. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and secure that to the top here. And I basically do the same thing as I do with the wreath. I'm just going to secure it with pipe cleaners. I only have to use one apiece on that, though. Usually I'll try to find a place where I'm not going to interfere with the wreath. So we'll go right here with this one. It doesn't have to be nearly as neat as the other one. So, oh hey, hi Lisa. Thank you for joining. Hi Zuli, Nancy. Oh, and Pat. Hey, thanks for joining tonight. I really appreciate you guys. And Sarah and Lourdes. Thank you so much. Hi. I was telling everybody, if you have any questions, please comment. And if I can't get to them while I'm doing the live, then of course I'll go back and answer them as I can. So I hope everybody's doing well tonight. It's almost the end of the week. End of the first week of May. Okay, so I'm just going to take this, I'm just going to join this on here, right on the top. All right. Now, I also have a, not really sure what these are called, these little packing slip holder, for lack of a better word. I'll slip that in there as well. And inside of that, I'm going to place, I've got a little thank you note, and again, I've got a note in here that talks about, you know, fluffing the ribbons. Don't hang it outside under you know, hold it, put it under an overhang, you know, that kind of thing, and then some numbers to comment or to contact me if they need it to. So I've got that, of course, a business card, and I always put in an extra shipping label and then a packing label. And the reason I put the extra shipping label in, I've heard of times where there's been a lost package, or maybe the package gets destroyed for some reason, and if the shipping label gets torn off, if there's no other way to identify it, they may not, I mean, you may never find it. So I was always told just to put an extra one inside the box as well. So, all right, pull these all up together. Oh, hi, Nellie from Colorado, and Rose. Thank you for joining. Ann, hi. And Sarah. And Ruby. Thank you. Really appreciate you guys joining me tonight. I know there's a lot of heavy hitters on tonight, so I really appreciate taking the time to stop by and see me. Okay, usually then I'll go ahead and stick this here. I'll stick all these goodies in here. And for you guys that are just joining and wondering what in the world I'm doing on the floor, I was telling everybody else I'm too short to reach over the box when it's up on the table. So this is the way I pack. So, all right. Now, one other thing I do, I always put a handwritten thank you on the inside here. I usually put thank you for supporting my small business, Terry. So it just adds a little extra personal touch, I think. And I want to show them how appreciative I am of them choosing me to do business with. So. Okay, just a quick handwritten note is all. So, okay, now we're ready to go ahead and close it up. And I usually will go ahead and stick one piece of tape right across just to kind of hold it down. I'll let my tape fall off of the track here. There we go. I tell you, I don't know what the rest of you guys use. I bought me one of those nice fancy things, the tape dispensers. I don't use it. I still go back to these little things. To me, it just works out easier for me. So, all right, and then I've got a shipping label. We'll just stick that on top here. And I usually completely cover the shipping label with tape, because you don't know, is it going to sit out in the rain, or, you know, like you said, once it leaves your house, you never know what else is going to happen to it. So I try to take every precaution I can. Oh, heck. Need to pay attention here. Okay. Okay, so the shipping label is completely covered now. Make sure all the edges are, you know, smoothed down on the side there. And then I take a piece and I'll run it on either side here too. Again, just as another layer of protection. All right, and as a final touch, and I don't know if it does any good or not, but it makes me feel better. I usually write fragile in great big letters. On both sides. Like I said, I don't know if it's just a license to go ahead and throw it or toss it across the room or not, but anyway. So that's it. Now it's going to be off to either the post office or FedEx. Those are the two that I use. Those are the two available on Etsy. I found, I'm in Indiana, and you know, I found I'll go on both sides and see which is the most economical. I'm not going to do something just absolutely dirt cheap that's going to take 2 weeks for them to receive their package. Anyway, I found that if I check both sides, one of them is usually substantially lower than the other, depending on what area of the country it's going to. I know for me, if I'm shipping west of the Mississippi, most times it's cheaper on FedEx. Not always, such as this case, but most times it is. So anyway, that's all I have for you tonight. Oh, and Nellie, and I see your question now. Nellie was wondering, is it cheaper sending it through the post office or FedEx? And there again, I think it depends on where you're at and where you're shipping it to. Again, here in Indiana, most times is, like I do a lot of business to Texas and Oklahoma. This one's going to Oklahoma, and this is actually one of probably 1 or 2 times other than this that I've used the post office to go west of the Mississippi. Most times I use FedEx. Now, if I'm shipping on this side, then FedEx is cheaper for me. So it just depends. You just got to try different things. I always check them, at least both. Sometimes I'll throw in UPS, but it's been my experience for myself from here, UPS is usually the most expensive. So anyway, so let me see if we have any more questions. Hey, hi, Rhonda. How are you? Nellie was wanting to know where I got the shipping label. And on Etsy, you can go ahead and that's part of the checking out and taking care of the final order. And you can go ahead and print them off. I printed that off myself. So, okay, let me run through here and see if there's any other questions that I can answer real quick. Okay, all right. All right, good. I'm glad you're good and well, Rhonda. Really good to see you. So, all right. Well, if you don't have any other questions, I really appreciate you guys joining me tonight. And I'll be going live. I don't know, tomorrow I'm not sure we've got a dinner we're going to go to, but if we get done soon enough, I might go live tomorrow. But I'll go ahead and notify you. Like I said earlier, if you will type in live alert in the comments, then you'll get a prompt it'll be another message that'll say reply live alert. After you get that second message, then if you reply live alert to that, then you'll be in the system, and I'll try to notify you, every time I go live. And like I said, if I don't go live on Friday, then I will for sure on Saturday, but I'll let you know. And there again, I appreciate it so much. You guys spend the time with me. Know how much. And sorry for the little bump there at the first. I had to mess around with the Mevo again. I thought it was going to give me another, abort, jump off ship type of thing. But anyway, we were able to get it to go. And anyway, I hope you guys have a great rest of the evening and great tomorrow. And I'll join you again next time. Bye-bye. Thank you.